a new breed of chef called the New Guard is taking the world of traditional French cuisine by storm. Gilles Choukroun redefines the art of cuisine.
One of the things that Gilles has created is a mini dish.
A Paris bistro breaks almost every rule imaginable.
There is no such thing as a typical menu at the Chateaubriand.
Going back to basics in the heart of Provence.
Doesn't matter if it's a foie gras or a tomato.
French pastry like you've never seen.
He's mostly following his desire to have fun with his creativity.
There's a revolution happening in France.
What?
There's a new generation of young chefs in France, what I call the new guard.
The popcorn.
On va pouvoir même mélanger.
These young chefs have just decided to be themselves, to build their own identity.
In a country where tradition is essential, upholding the strict Michelin standard of haute cuisine has long been a prerequisite for becoming a successcusseful French chef. But not anymore. The New Guard dares to ignore the rules and break the chains of tradition.
On y va?
Luc Dumanchet created Omnivore magazine to spread the word about this exciting new generation of French chefs.
My name is Louisa Chu. I'm a chef and a food writer. Whereas the Michelin Guide is still the Bible for the best in classic French cuisine, Omnivore is creating new standards.
The system of Michelin stars just put chefs in a kind of prison. And new people like Gilles Choukroun just decided, I just want to be free.
Gilles Choukroun stands at the forefront of the New Guard. And now he's opened a restaurant within the walls of one of Paris's premier art museums, the Grand Palais. Designed as an ephemeral restaurant, Choukroun's Mini Palais is meant to be temporary. This provides Choukroun with the freedom to experiment in a way unimaginable in a restaurant with a normal lifespan. Combining cuisine and culture, it just might be the perfect setting to tap this culinary creativity.
Gilles Choukroun is a chef at the Mini Palais, a temporary restaurant in one of the most majestic monuments in Paris.
Gilles Choukroun, nearly 40 years old now, who was nothing 7 or 8 years ago. He only had a little restaurant. He's now in the center of Paris, geographically and perhaps also in the mind.
Nouvelle cuisine parisienne.
D'accord. So Gilles was saying that he really wanted to create a new style of Parisian cuisine that wasn't associated with any regions of France. But there's really never been a style of cuisine identified with Paris alone.
Je veux manger assez light.
In Paris, people are eating a little lighter. This newer style is really more concerned about, the way people live now.
Le Mini Palais. Mini.
One of the things that Gilles has created for the Mini Palais is a mini créade, he was saying, like for a mini creative dish in this glass. And he has mini savory dishes and mini sweet dishes. It allows him to have a whole different category that people don't expect and don't have preconceived notions. Okay. So we're going to start with the foie gras, a very classic French ingredient.
Vu la chaleur, sinon on est mal. L'idée, c'est de se servir d'un céleri rémoulade.
In classic French cuisine, you have a dish called céleri rémoulade, which is made with celery root. This dish, what he really loved is that you get the really crunchy celery remoulade salad, contrasting with the softness of the foie gras.
Pour moi,
Gilles thought that foie gras, which is a really nutty flavor, he thought it'd be really terrific to combine something that he thinks is similar in flavor, but not at all in classic French cuisine, popcorn. He'd imagined that this would be terrific with a caramel made from a balsamic vinegar reduction. For a chef like Gilles and the new guard, this new generation, being in a space like the Grand Palais is very important.
le Grand Palais est quand même un des monuments.
This is in the heart of Paris. People come for their very serious business lunches because it's the most chic place to come right now. And they understand that a chef like Gilles should be in a space like the Grand Palais, not in some, warehouse somewhere.
The new generation is now really recognized, you see?
Gilles was saying that he's so inspired that he tries to create dishes that are really as artistic as what's displayed in the Grand Palais itself.
Les cubes de thon.
The tuna cubes and herb salad with a few really thin slices of red onion. This is a beautiful dish.
C'est pas une cuisine avec une technique de geste.
His cuisine is really more about the senses. Compared to the old classic cuisine, which is really about the very careful gestures and techniques, here you still have a beautiful product, but then there's something interesting in here. So this dish has strawberries, the classic French kids candy.
Tagada.
Tagada, that's right. Okay. It's kind of chewy, like strawberry marshmallowy candy. And Pop Rocks. It's really alive. The Pop Rocks, I can see them popping from here.
When you put it into your mouth, just, it's a bomb.
That's fun. And it's delicious.
And just imagine businessman for lunch with their tie, just there and taste the, oh my God,
Exactly.
It changed things, of course.
It was pretty amazing that this space was only finished a few weeks ago. It's a temporary restaurant that really reflects the ephemeral art of cuisine. Merci encore. And the very ever-changing nature of this new guard's style of cooking.
We're talking about freedom and pleasure. Can I try it? Yes. That's what Iñaki Aizpitarte does. Iñaki is probably one of the wildest chefs in Paris today.
A poster boy of the new guard, Iñaki Aizpitarte combines flavors in a way that no traditional French chef would dare. At his restaurant, La Chateaubriand, he reinvents the classic French bistro with a style all his own.
Salut.
Tiens, ça va? C'est que là, toi.
There is no such thing as a typical menu at the Chateaubriand. So yesterday you had corn, fresh pistachio.
Il y a toujours quelque chose qui change. Des fois 3.
The whole 5-course tasting menu changes every day. It's always different.
Ça marche. 4 amuse-mouches là.
So here's the starter. A mackerel ceviche with
Tabasco vert en gelée.
green Tabasco jelly, tiny jelly cubes, lychee sorbet, purple basil, and almonds. Fresh almonds on the top. No, what's the word? Boundaries?
Là où j'ai envie d'être, c'est-à-dire faire à manger pour qui j'ai envie de faire à manger.
He considers he's just cooking the way he wants to cook and who he wants to cook it for.
On y va?
That is the most important thing to him.
Ensemble, hein, l'équipe. Et
Iñaki just told me, I want a place where my friends can still come. It's a 40 € menu. 40 euros, that's what, 55 bucks maybe? One can afford it. Some people wrote he was a punk chef because he's self-trained, hasn't worked with famous chefs at all. No one ever told him what classic food was.
inconsciemment, involontairement, naturellement, j'ai eu ce...
And therefore, compared to other French chefs that have been trained, they've been taught how to cook this way, with these ingredients, nothing more, not changing recipes, not creating. He never had that. He's just free. There goes the tuna.
Ça manque de citron?
He just wants to follow his instincts. The red sauce is some kind of a satay vinaigrette. Asian, African, French. What did I find this morning at the market? The pak choreuse and some tiny Korean dried fish. Where does this come from? Who knows?
Ouais, Jérémy.
It is creative. It is different. It is modern.
Thank you.
It's 21st century, Parisian food.
Pak choy et petit poisson croustillant. Bon appétit.
This place is alive. Alive like his food.
Voilà, moi je suis mis là.
Paris is not the only place where the revolution is taking place with the new guard of young French chefs.
Françoise, on a un peu des tomates par là ou pas?
That's also happening down in the south of France.
You have the blue basil here.
Near the town of Arles, there is a restaurant called Le Chassagnette.
The star of the place is the garden, and we just have to wait until he gives us the best produce to prepare in the kitchen.
Armand Arnal just finished his first season here at La Chassagnette, and it's already garnering worldwide attention from gourmets, including those from Paris, who travel down just for a single lunch.
Armand Arnal embraces another aspect of New Guard cuisine, the simplicity of farm-to-table dining. Located in Arles, about 450 miles south of Paris, La Chassagnette's menu draws largely from produce pulled straight from its adjacent garden. A protege of legendary chef Alain Ducasse, Arnal now allows seasonal produce to drive his menu. Inspired by what's fresh versus what's traditional, his brand of New Guard cuisine is garnering international attention.
So you know what? We're gonna pick up some few things to prepare for the kitchen, okay? Like we do every morning. We have 4 gardeners here who do amazing jobs. We pick up what we need for the day.
Wow,
That's why we have no waste.
beautiful. So they know exactly which ones are going to be ripe,
Exactly.
like this morning.
Some beautiful eggplants, green zebra tomato.
For him to be able to work with something that's, just an eggplant or just a tomato when it's at its absolute peak, that's what he feels is really a luxury ingredient.
It doesn't matter if it's a foie gras or a tomato. When you have what the nature gives to you at this moment, and you have the time and the place to pick it up and work with it right away. For a chef, it's just like a dream.
Armand, do you feel like you're part of a new movement of chefs in France?
I don't really like being in a movement. My philosophy of cooking is very simple. It's to try to give pleasure to people that I serve in a restaurant. Okay, so we have a melons. We have the tomatoes, the mix of the tomatoes. And then we're gonna start a small recipe.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we're gonna do a beautiful gazpacho of melon. And then after we're gonna do a baby tuna called bonite. And I'm gonna show you what I learned as a technique in Japan by preparing that.
Despite the fact that most of Armand's ingredients come from within 70 kilometers or so of La Chassagnette, he's not content with just serving up typically Provençal dishes.
This is a lemon cucumber.
Lemon cucumber.
Yes. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna put this cucumber in the soup to have a balance, to add some mineral taste. Olive oil, like 2-3 tablespoons. In a simple dish, the important thing is to balance the flavors.
While you use really simple ingredients, you still use your own technique and training as well as the latest technology in order to bring the most out of it.
People they just realize that when they finish, when they leave, they're like, oh, maybe I was in something different.
All of that technique is just seamless. It's invisible to the client.
I like feeling the big piece of vegetable.
Big, bold chunks. Some basil blossoms here, just not even the leaves themselves. Beautiful. Classic French cuisine, you never ate the skin, you never ate the seeds, and here you're eating.
You never eat the best. You just have to hear what this garden have to say and try and transform what it gives to you.
So you garnish this with a sunflower petal?
Yeah. And you see all the things happen.
The sweetness of the melon comes through so subtly.
The tomatoes,
acidity.
the freshness of the cucumber, and you have this plant.
Really enriches the entire flavor.
So now we're gonna do a dish that's gonna be like half Spain, half Italian, okay? But for the fish part, we use Japanese technique, and we're gonna steam a few seconds. We just take away all the
surface microbes.
Yes.
A lot of sushi fish is frozen, so there's not the same kind of concern with the surface bacteria. You're getting this locally, from the Mediterranean.
Exactly, from Mediterranean Sea.
we're gonna sear it very quickly with garlic and sweet pepper. I was in north of Spain, and it was this woman who always prepare this mix to do all the calamaris and all the things coming out from the sea. So I just steal the recipe from her.
This is going on to a super hot flat top grill right now. Whoa, the smoke off of that is just so powerful.
And then I'm going to show you the eggplants. I cook on the oven, very low, balsamic vinegar, then olive oil. Same old, same old. Here we make a caviar, eggplant caviar.
Eggplant caviar. This is like a very classic Mediterranean staple.
Exactly. And we had some basil, red onions,
Parsley.
a little bit of garlic. So that is two different kind of way of cooking eggplants.
So this dish really reflects your travels and your exposure around the Mediterranean region.
Exactly. But the fish,
Japanese inspired.
that's it. Is a work behind, a crazy work behind, to make something look the most simple when you have on your plate.
These new trends of French food don't stop just at cooking, they also cross over to pastry making. Sadaharu Aoki is always saying, I wake up in the morning and I think, what do I want to do today? What do I want to eat? What do I want to play with today? He takes the classic art of French pastry and adds his Japanese background to it. Wow. He feels completely free to be as creative as he wants to be.
Another hallmark of the New Guard is the desire to reach across borders and experiment with international flavors, a concept unheard of in the old days. There may be no more exotic example than the pastry of Sadaharu Aoki. Food writer Clotilde Dussolier, whose blog Chocolate and Zucchini details many stories of New Guard delicacies, visits Sadaharu at work in Paris.
Juste au moment où je suis entré à Paris.
Sadaharu Aoki came to France 18 years ago. He now has 3 shops in Paris.
Voilà, donc,
The way that he fits into this new guard of chefs in general is that he's mostly following his desire to have fun with his creativity.
c'est le dôme.
That's a creation of his.
Voilà, ça s'appelle Saya.
This one is named after his daughter. His daughter's name is Saya.
Crème chocolat ivoire, fraise.
Strawberry and white chocolate cream, pistachio crème brûlée,
Et ensuite, il y a des sapins.
and then butter cookies at the bottom.
I like how the pistachio is kind of coming in a second wave. Délicieux.
Voilà.
Since he builds from classic, traditional French pastries, his work is still in line with that tradition. He's trying to give the Parisian pastry eater that little exotic touch.
Ça, c'est mon grande spécialité.
This has been his specialty for 5 years. It's the green tea opera. It's alternating layers of an almond cake, green tea buttercream, and chocolate ganache.
Un grand classique opéra au café.
The traditional opera has the cookie base soaked in coffee. In Japan, of course, they drink a lot more tea than they drink coffee, so his is flavored with green tea, and that's it. So this is the test kitchen where Sada develops all the recipes, and he's going to show us a type of macaron that's flavored with yuzu, citrus, and praline. And what we're talking about here is what's called a Parisian macaron. 2 discs of meringue with buttercream or jam in the middle. So he's explaining that he uses almonds, pasteurized egg whites, confectioner's sugar, and this is yuzu powder.
C'est une sorte de citron.
Yuzu is a Japanese lemon that's more bitter. Wow. D'accord, okay, see.
Juste ça.
It's almost like grapefruit. We're gonna grind the almonds, confectioner's sugar, and yuzu powder together.
Voilà.
We're gonna whip the egg white with sugar. So he says that his pastry is about using the best ingredients he can find.
Voilà.
And then if his technique is completely flawless, then he has the best pastries.
Voilà.
Magnifique. Wow. Nothing is left to chance ever.
Mais j'ai cherché, moi-même j'ai cherché Sada, c'est quoi?
He's been creating those pastries with Japanese influences for about 5 years, and he strongly feels that he was at the right place at the right time.
Juste commencer pour le japonisant.
Because the French public and the Parisian public in particular was ready for Japanese things. And so he entered that trend. This is why there's no problem with taking things too far, because he's just taking them to Japan, and that's where people want to go. It definitely has that, what I compare to grapefruit flavored. It's yuzu flavored macarons that our grandmothers would not have recognized.
Ça on fait tout le temps avec les...
What he says is that he feels like a sushi chef, because sushi also has to be made with pristine ingredients and really precise and simple techniques.
C'est une idée de décoration pour les sushis.
D'accord, ok. He's presenting the eclair and the yuzu macaron as he would sushi. He's never really sure where he's going or in which direction, but it all boils down to the ingredients that he uses and having fun with them.
Quand même.
Cuisine, what is cuisine? Cuisine is the mirror of a society, you see, the mirror of a culture.
The new guard, this new generation, does represent the evolution of French cuisine.
No boundaries, just pure pleasure, and that's it, you know.
This is important to respect for tradition, but we mustn't be bound by that. This new generation of young chefs who take risks, they are the future.